Namaste and welcome to Pramanik Astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani. Help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. If you have any question around Vedic astrology or if you want to share anything, please share your thoughts into comment section. We are going to read all the questions. Sri Lekha, Rusum, hi, Anupamaji, Pranam, Akshay. Don't share the birth details here. But yes, Akshay S. Ram. I hope you guys are able to hear my voice. Please comment AV, audio video okay. Are you able to hear me properly? James Bond 0623. Yes, we can hear you, sir. Yes, thanks a lot. How are you? Hello. Kathakali Banerjee, AV okay. Great. Thanks a lot. Priyanka Shukla, Vijay, Anupama. Yes, thanks a lot. So good to see all of you. Yes, so you can ask if you have any question around Vedic astrology, or if you want to ask anything. If you have any question, please share. Today is the time we can discuss your questions, and I read all the queries and question and try to answer them elaborately. Okay, so those who are watching it as a recorded or as a video, this is going to be a lengthy video. I don't know how much time it will be, but I will try to put timestamps into it. The purpose of this video is to connect with you and share with you and discuss the questions if you have any. Okay, Priyanka Shukla, please don't share your birth details. Okay, here's the thing. Please don't share your birth details because it doesn't help you. There are so many people. This video will go on internet. We don't know what kind of people. All the energies on your birth time and details is not good for you. So don't share it. You can email me if you want, but again, I get hundreds of emails, so I don't really get a chance to look into it. This is the chance. You can share the planetary details and the question rather than sharing it your birth details. Please, I request you. Priyanka Shukla ji, Sri Lekha ji, kindly delete your comments, please. Even I can delete it, but I want you to remove those birth details from public domain. Okay, so we have Kathakali. How should we relate D1 chart to D9 chart? How should we relate D1 chart to? Excellent. This is such a deep question. Okay, so whenever we have a D1 chart, those of you who are aware of the Navamshas, Navamsha is the ninth portion of the Rashi. Rashi is 30 degrees. This is the ninth portion of this. And each of the Navamsha has a meaning to it. And there is a cycle of Navamshas. What is a cycle of Navamsha? For example, let's say the Navamsha started with Aries and will end with Pisces and again start with Aries. So from Aries to Pisces is a cycle. Okay. So the question is how should we relate D1 chart to D9 chart? Okay, there are so many ways to relate D1 to D10. The primary way is to look at the planet, its dignity, and when it is placed into certain degrees of the Navamsha, it goes into certain pada in D9. D9 is nothing but the division of the D1. So D1 is far more important. Now, these days, you will see so much in emphasis on D9 chart on internet. Like you would see marriage and all that. Yes, it is important. This is one of the important Varga chart, but D1 and D60 both are same, but they are the most important thing. Now, coming back to how we can relate to it is, first is through the padas, through the dignity. For example, let's say you have a planet debilitated in D1, getting exalted into D9. So what it shows is this person is not clear about his life. Whenever there is a symmetry and alignment in the placement, those are the good placements, right? For example, let's say if you have a debilitated planet, and if it is also debilitated into the D9 chart, then that person may be doing something very ordinary, but he knows what he is doing. Okay, we are not getting into the Vargottam part of it, but this is how we relate it. First is through the Rashi dignity, exaltation, debilitation. The other thing is through the conjunction, the karakatva of it, signification of that planet. The lordship of the D1 is also important. For example, the lord of the seventh house is getting into the fifth house in D9, has a meaning in it, meaning to it. You can apply all the yogas in D9. Okay. And I think I have already made a video. Let me just search D1 versus D9. Pramani, can I see if I could get something? Yes, I have already made a video. You can get it here. I'm just going to share it with you here. Okay. So this is how you can relate to the D1 and D9 through various ways of connecting it through Rashi, dignity, Karakatva, placement, and all of that. But there is another way of looking at it is through the transit, like the lord of the transit aspecting the planets and so on. But for that, you need to know which planet is aspecting which house and then just rotate it. Then you would have a deeper understanding about what's happening in D1 versus D9. But you have to learn and practice this, because this is going to change your understanding about D1 as well. What a beautiful question. Thanks, Kathakali, for asking this question. I hope you got the answer. If you have any queries, put it into the comment section. I'll keep reading questions and then I'll answer your query as well. Thanks a lot for sharing this. Moon and Mars in Leo Lagna. What about this? Moon and Mars in Leo Lagna. It's a beautiful placement because it goes 12th Lord and again the 10th Lord, 12th Lord, and the 5th Lord in the Lagna. So it makes your personality versatile and intense, but at the same time, emotionally vulnerable, because Moon, along with Mars, is it gives you temper as well at times. Okay, but you have to focus on these areas. These are the houses which are going to get activated. And one more thing, whenever you have, I love this conjunction of Moon and Mars. Why? Go and watch my Moon and Mars video. I have shared that. Now, okay, Sri Lekha. My nakshatra is Anuradha, and I have 30 years old. How was my second marriage as well as job and finance? I don't know, because just being Anuradha doesn't give you anything. But let me tell you, if you are an Anuradha person, you would be drawn towards someone with Shatabisha, or maybe Rohini. Okay, so check out if you have anyone with these nakshatras. Interesting guy has asked this question, sir. What is the difference between Hora Kundali and Hora Lagna Kundali? Okay, I have already made a separate video, but I don't think so. I have got your question, but Hora Kundali and Hora is literal meaning of the word Hora is hour, and how it each hour is ruled by a planet, and how it started and how do we calculate. I have already made a video on that. Wait, I'm just looking for that video. D2. Yes, 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 yes. This is the one. Okay. So if you want to know about this interesting guy, you can go and check out this video. Okay. This is Hora video. You can go and check this out. Okay. If you have any further clarifications you want to make, you can always share that. I'll definitely respond to it. Okay. My son is looking for a job. When he will be able to find, I don't know, because to find it you need to know his chart, understand what exactly is that. But I will help you with what you should look for in a chart if you want to see the job change. First is 10th lord, the 10th house, the planets in the 10th house, and also the 6th lord, which is of routine. And another planet you should look out for is the Saturn and Jupiter. Confirmation of Saturn and Jupiter is equally important. Mercury in the 10th house and Jupiter in the 9th house. Should I wear emerald and Pushkara? No, you should not wear, not because it is you have Mercury in the 10th house or something. I believe you should not waste your money on gemstones. If you feel you want to invest that money, if you have a surplus money, put that somewhere into a good instrument, invest it, and don't invest it in gemstone. And you know why? Because I did it myself when I was a kid. When I started, I bought the most expensive gemstones. They don't work, I can tell you. And that's why you would see I don't have any gemstones, I don't have any bracelet, I don't have anything. Okay, I would highly recommend you to do the sadhana, love God, have a spiritual practice. Sounds boring, feels like it won't work, but that's the only remedy. And don't waste your money on gemstones. That's it. Princess Pihu and Mommy, I have started home baking and chocolate. Would it be successful? My Rahu is in 11th house, and my Rahu is in 11th house, 4th house. Okay, so I'm not able to exactly figure out what it means with the placement, but I pray for you. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll pray for your success. Princess Pihu and Mommy. If anybody on this chat wants to join me, just pray for 10 seconds for the success of our friend Princess Pihu and Mommy. And it does work. I'm just going, just give me 10 seconds to pray for her. Yes, I prayed for your highest good and greatest growth in whatever life situation you are, and whatever um, you have started your enterprise. My best wishes to you, but it has nothing to do with the planetary positions you have, because I don't know and I can't figure that out with just these three piece of information. And you don't have to worry about it, just go about it. You have all the positive vibes from this live stream, and that makes a difference. And Next time when you have it, just come back to me and tell me how is it going. So what happened Ketu in D9 chart for Anuradha Nakshatra? How was the marriage? It has nothing to do with this. See, just a single placement in D9 means nothing. There is a whole different things you have to see. But Ketu and the I personally don't follow the nakshatra in D9 chart because it is really confusing. Especially when you go to the pada level, it really confuses you because the beauty about D9 is D9 and nakshatra are of the same division. So D9 is nothing but a single pada of a nakshatra. So D9, the Navamsha and nakshatra, if you start following nakshatra in the D9, it gets really confusing at a pada level. So I won't recommend you doing it or following it. Okay, if you want to research it, then it's a different story. But for common students like you and me, we don't need that. We just follow D1. We follow the nakshatra in D1. That's it. That is enough for us. And you guys don't put messages continuously. I'm going to read it one by one. Okay, otherwise I will remove you from this stream. Okay, so who is next? So yes, just put it once. That's enough. I'm going to read all of the comments. Can Saturn in the sixth house of Navansthulya Rashi gives victory against enemies against every field like golden? Yes, sixth house is about that. But again, you have to see your opponent and their chart as well. So you should have a chart of your opponent as well. And you have to see who is having a dominant dasha and transit. Then you can think about it. Otherwise, we can't predict that. So what would happen? Combination of Rahu, Venus, and Saturn in the 11th house for the Anuradha. Again, don't follow nakshatra in D9. I won't because I don't know anything. I won't be able to tell you anything with this. But yes, combination of Rahu and Venus. I have already made a separate video. You can go and watch them as well. Okay, what would you say about Ketu being in between Moon and Venus in my ninth house, Taurus? So if you have a Taurus in the ninth, you have a Virgo Lagna. And I did not get what you mean by Moon and Venus, Ketu being in between Moon and Venus. Do you mean by degree? Like in the Taurus, between Moon and Venus, you have a Ketu? So please clarify that. And what do you expect? Like, because I already have made videos about the combination of these planets. Okay, here's the thing: when Moon is conjunct with Ketu, whenever you have a planet conjunct with Ketu, it gives you mastery over that planet. So it is over Moon. So what it shows is it gives you strength and mastery over your mood. So it's very difficult for anyone to make you happy. You're not stubborn, but you are already matured enough to see the ups and downs of moods. Okay, again, when it is with Moon, it also shows some kind of psychic abilities because it is the planet of spirituality and uh, things from the previous life is conjunct with the planet of mind, so it gives you psychic abilities, and it also shows some kind of fears, the childhood fears as well. When Ketu is conjunct with Ketu is conjunct with Moon, and when Ketu is conjunct with Moon, you are the person who would always make others cheerful. You will bring cheer to other people's life and mood, and it has nothing to do with what's going on in your life. Especially when Moon is exalted in the Taurus, that becomes a strong moon. Okay, again, there are so many other factors: waning moon, waxing moon, but this moon is a good moon because it is associated with good planets. Okay, again, this Venus is also conjunct with the Ketu, again gives mastery over all the Venusian things. But you yourself will never feel that you deserve that appreciation, and you will always feel that lack. That's how Ketu works. But if you know it, then you would be able to appreciate and travel with this Ketu better. I hope I'm able to answer your question, and I have understood your question properly. Let's move on to the next one. Ganesh and Saho, Sir, Rahu in Gemini in seventh house. Seventh Lord Mercury retrograde in second house, conjunct with the eighth Lord Venus exalted in the fourth house without any aspect. See, when you have Rahu in Gemini in the seventh house, see, Rahu in the seventh house, I'm not able to visualize the other things uh, quickly right now in this chat. But when Rahu is in the seventh house, first thing you have to do is appreciate your partner more. Sounds cliche, but for Rahu in the seventh house is very important, because when you have Rahu in the seventh house, your Ketu goes into the first house, and then you may not like it, but you become self obsessed, because the planet of Rahu goes into the self. So now your whole life is all about yourself. You're confident, you're smart, you're courageous, you're go getter. You have all the qualities which will help you to make an impact in life. But those are the things which may not be good for the relationship, because for the relationship, you need someone else. And that's where things get trickier with Rahu in the seventh house. Because with the Rahu in the seventh house, they don't like to connect with others, because they get confused when they connect with others. When it is up to them, they are confident. Okay, so now it will help you. And when it is in Gemini, a dual sign, it becomes even more so. Okay, so I'm not able to exactly visualize the other other conditions which you mentioned. But yes, Rahu in the seventh house, you can fix this by changing your behavior, not by Gemstone, not by remedy, not by any kind of a upay. Just changing the way you look at life. There are few blockages. We call it swabhav, right? We all have a swabhav. And once you change your swabhav, that is the first house, it improves your seventh house. You improve your first house, your seventh house becomes active and it improves. Like, you're not a good person, you won't get a partner. You're a good person, you get a good partner, right? You improve your physical body. The people, the natives with the other, mm, from, like, if you're a man and if you have a good physique, the woman is attracted to you and want to have a relationship with you. And it is true for all the houses. Once you fix the first house, work on the first house, it improves the seventh house. And Rahu is the planet where we need the improvement, and that's why we are here. I hope this has helped you. Sir, I have a debilitated Venus in the 11th, Venus at the 11th house, Scorpio ascendant. Is it combust too? Will it give very much negative effect? No. Okay. When Venus is in the debilitation, you have to check out few things. What, why do you think Venus gets debilitated into its friend Mercury's sign because it becomes analytical and love is blind. That's why Venus gets exalted into the Pisces. Venus loves to be into Pisces, but gets debilitated into the analytical sign of Virgo. Okay, coming back to your question, Venus, any planet in the Upachaya house gives great results, especially the uh, strong planets gives good results, but any planet will give good results over the period of time. So you have to work on your relationships, but that doesn't mean it will give negative results. For that, you need to see where the Mercury is placed in. Let's say your Mercury is also placed into the 11th house, or you have Venus placed into the Pisces in Navamsha, or it is aspected by the Jupiter from Pisces, or maybe Taurus, or maybe some other trine, 2, 6, 10, right? From Capricorn, Pisces, or Taurus. If Moon or not Moon, Jupiter is aspecting your debilitated Venus, it is going to improve that. Okay, so placement wise, this Venus seems good. You have to check out all these things, and then you have to look at the transit and combine it with dasha. Then you would be able to know what exactly is happening. Just because you have debilitated Venus doesn't mean anything. Just because you have exalted Venus doesn't mean your relationships will be good. Okay, so okay, let's move on to, can Saturn in the fourth house Cancer and Moon in the 11th house Aquarius making a Mahaparivartan yoga. Saturn is both Vargottama and Bhavattama. Saturn is the 10th and Lord for Aries. Is politics good for me? Okay, so for this you need to see, for this you need to see the Ashtakvarga and Bhinna Ashtakvarga of all these planets. For politics or for any kind of authority, you need to see your sun, your moon, not moon, but your sun, moon for your decisions, but more so sun and Saturn. Sun and Saturn are important. And Lord wise, the 10th Lord is important, 11th Lord is important, and the 6th Lord is important. Okay. And Atmakaraka, Amatyakaraka, the placement from the 10th, and all these things combined will give you an idea about it. But whatever you are saying with this placement for Aries and Parivartan Yoga and Mahaparivartan Yoga with Cancer and Moon, again, check the Ashtakvarga for Saturn and Sun and the 10th house and 10th Lord. Check the points, and then you would know how much strength they have. If a sublord level moon signifies 2 8 houses, these stress only. I did not get your question. It seems like I did not get what do you mean by sublord. Now moving on to the next question. L Hicks, yes, between, yes, we discussed this. Which chart is considered for checking children? D7. So you specifies ideal astrology. Thanks for it. I did not get it, but I take it as a compliment. Uh, I did not understand what do you mean by ideal astrology. Okay, so L Hicks says thank you, and we are moving to the next question. Hey Pramanik, I have a super tight conjunction with Ketu and Mars within 1 degree in 9th house of Gemini. What does that mean? Yes, we already have made this video. When you have Ketu and Mars, both are aggressive planet. Ketu is also like a sun. Rahu is more like a moon, but Ketu is more like a sun. So it has all those royal qualities, though it has that martial qualities, because it fights and conquers. And that's why Mars and Ketu makes you a fighter. And when Mars and Ketu are tightly conjunct into the ninth house of Gemini, so it becomes the Libra ascendant. And then Moon, no, Mars rules the seventh house and the second house, and it goes into the ninth house. More than that, what it shows is it shows you have the ability to solve the critical problem, because Mars is the planet of logic, and Ketu is the planet. I have to say planet, you know what it means, but Ketu intensifies things. So now the logic is getting intensified. So these people are very good at solving problems. They are very good with logic. Okay. And when it is with the Gemini, an air element sign, even better. It's like a unique approach to solve problems. I would call these people. These people are the problem solvers with unique approach, because Ketu gives uncanny and different way of looking at problems, and Mars applies that logic. That creates a genius person who solves problems quickly. Okay, I hope this has helped you. Subhash Singh, hello sir. Is there a difference in aspects of debilitated planets and exalted planets, or both have the strength in aspects? Okay, so aspects, there are, when we have an aspect of a planet, it is an aspect. There are three things you have to look into the aspect. First is the degrees of the planet, then the Rashi, and then the placements. Okay, so what is the difference between the debilitated planets aspect versus an exalted planets aspect? So what you have to see is you have to see it as a weak conjunction. Aspect is nothing but a weak conjunction. When I say weak, doesn't mean negative. It's just a not strong conjunction. So when a planet is aspecting the other house or planet, it shows like gives results of a conjunction itself. Okay, and then you have to see the dignity and apply everything as per the conjunction. Okay, I hope you got the answer to your question. Now, how effective is the yoga if it is formed only in the D1 chart and not in the other divisional chart? Okay, so yogas are formed in different ways. It is called as a sambandha. When two or more planets have a sambandha, association, then it creates yoga. What kind of association? Through aspect, mutual aspect, only aspect, special aspect, doesn't matter. The aspect creates sambandha. The yuti, conjunction, creates a sambandha. Lordship or exchanges create a sambandha. Now your question is, if we have yoga in D1 but we don't have that yoga in D9 chart, in other divisional chart, so what it shows is it shows the promise in the D1, but it is not getting fulfilled in the D9 chart or D10 chart. Again, you have to see if that yoga is good or bad. There is nothing good or bad, but if you look at the yogas, you will oftentimes see all the effects of the yogas are the same. Okay, you will get wealth, you will get children, you will get good wife, and all that. And when you have challenging yoga, it just, you would be wondering, you would have diseases and so on. But always give the always give and always give thought to the names of the yogas. Okay, and then you would know what is happening with them. Okay, coming back to your question, it's you we have a yoga in D1, but we don't have it in other charts. Okay, so if it is strong, whether it is good or bad, if it is strong and if it is through the conjunction, then it would be in a close degree with each other. So yogas which are created by the conjunction, they are close to each other. For example, let's say we are talking about the most popular yoga, Buddhaditya or Gajakesari yoga. Let's say moon is conjunct with Jupiter, and it is so conjunct that even if I divide it in 9, the D9 chart, it is conjunct. If it is D10, D60, it is conjunct. Then it is like very close to it in D1 chart. So when a planet is having a yoga in D1 and does not have in the other Vargas, doesn't really uh, dilutes it uh, quality. It doesn't change it. But again, you have to apply this. You have to use these things with the dasha. Dashas are the most important thing, and then you would know if this D1 yoga is important for this chart or not. Okay, so answer to your question is it doesn't really matter, because yogas with the degrees are the yogas created by the degrees will only appear in the Varga charts. Okay, now I'm a Taurus ascendant, Rahu in the first house. Excellent. Retro Saturn, retro Jupiter in the ninth house, Aries. If Lord of the sixth house is Capricorn, Nietzsche Bhangra, I'm not able to visualize, but I have already made a separate video. You can go and uh, analyze this, but you would get the answer right after you watch that video. There are rules of Nietzsche Bhanga, and if it is following the rules, you have a Nietzsche Bhanga. You don't have to worry about it, and always follow that in D1. If Venus is good in D1 and difficult afflicted in D9 chart, will the results vary? Definitely, it will vary, because you have to see what kind of a change it is. That's what we discussed in the first question. Uh, how do we relate the D1 to the D9? Right? So that's how you do it. Like, let's say you have Venus in the first house, not first house, Venus in D1 in a good condition. And when I say good condition, you know what do I mean by that. And if it is changing its dignity or its condition in D9 chart, it definitely means something. And what is that something? What is that change? You know the lots. Now you know what exactly is changing, how it is changing, and then you apply it, and then you come to a conclusion. Okay, but again, it is just a tiny little part of a whole analysis. You should do it for yourself, and not just random. Oh, I have a debilitated planet in D9, my life is going to be bad. No, it doesn't work like that. I always believe, never just rely on any one planetary alignment, no matter how good or bad that is, and decide your chart. Oh, I have Saturn exalted in my chart, so my life would be great. Oh, I have debilitated Saturn, my life would be difficult. No. Why? Then whatever is said about the exaltation is wrong? No, it is true. But again, it comes with the context. It comes with application of dasha, application of yogas, application of so many other things. And I want you to create a practice for yourself to not to look for easy answers. Everybody who has joined today here, I don't want you to look for easy answers in astrology. Easy answers doesn't take you anywhere. It just leads you to confusion, and then it just distract you from the real studies. Okay, I want all of us to become hardworking astrologers, hardworking, genuine astrologers who want to serve astrology and make a difference. and make astrology proud with our contributions. And how we can make it? By being hardworking and not looking for easy answers. Okay. Now, getting back to next question. Hello, sir. Scorpio ascendant in D9, Venus in second house, currently in Venus Mahadasha. I'm 29. Marriage anytime soon? I don't know. Because for you to understand marriage, first you have to see seventh lord, you have to see fifth lord, you have to see uh, Saturn, you have to see Jupiter, their transit, and also you have to see the Darakaraka, and the seventh from the Darakaraka, the seventh from the moon, the seventh from the Venus, the first and seventh house of D9 chart. Just note down these placements. Oh, so this means everything, almost all the houses. Yes, it is. Then what we do is we sort what is the strongest and can give the marriage. Okay, and then we come to the conclusion. Okay, hard work, not an easy task, but the clue is Darakaraka, Charadashas, Parashari Dashas, combining them and see the result. If you combine the Vimshottari Mahadasha with Darakaraka and Gemini Karakas, it would give you excellent results when you look for a timing of marriage. And that's what I do personally when I study a chart. Jupiter in Cancer effect on Aquarius ascendant. We are going to make a separate video on Jupiter in Cancer next Friday. Capricorn ascendant, Moon, Mars in my first house, and Mercury in the first house. Saturn retrograde in seventh house with Parivartan yoga with Moon. This axis confuses me a lot. How do I take this? Which axis? Which axis confuses you? The first and second with Moon and Saturn? Yes. This is a powerful yoga. Okay, let me tell you. Whenever you have a Saturn opposite of Moon, is a powerful yoga. People might say it's a Vishy yoga and all kinds of things. What it does is, Moon is the planet of mind. Moon is so important. Why? Because Moon is your mind, and we have heard this so many times. But all our decisions are based on our desires, and all our desires are based on our emotions and the relativity we feel about certain things. We like certain things, that's why we do certain things. We don't like certain things, that's why we don't do or do certain things. And this separation is the importance of Moon, mind, and free will. Okay, and Moon, when is opposite with Saturn, there you might hear it as a Visha yoga and so many, but the beauty of this conjunction when Moon is opposite to the Saturn is, it it restricts your creativity, it restricts your mind going here and there, it restricts your distraction, it keeps you focused. Once you are in your element, once you focus yourself, it gives you a mechanical approach, whether it is good or bad. And how is your life, how people around you take it, how do they make you feel about it, is a different story. And that's what your life is, and your life experiences would be, right? For example, let's say you have Moon opposite to Saturn, and if you are uh, constantly working, and your partner doesn't like it because your partner wants to go out and you're not interested, then it might create a conflict. But you will have a great career because you're sincere and working hard all the time. So the Moon and retrograde Saturn conjunction and that axis gives you methodical approach, mechanical approach, and restricts your creativity. And don't get afraid by the names like wish and shrap and all kinds of things. Just try to understand what these two planets are doing. And then when you have retrograde Saturn, I have made a video on retrograde Saturn long back, maybe 7 years back, 6 years back. That was one of the favorite videos I have on my channel, because Saturn retrograde, the biggest learning for the Saturn retrograde is about what people will think about you. There are social fears when you have Saturn retrograde. And when you have it in the seventh house, you might have it around your relationship, whom you marry, what kind of a partner you choose, his or her economic background, and so on. And all those things really matter to you in your culture and in your surroundings. That's how you look at it, the moon opposite to the Saturn. Or for that, any matter, just try to understand what's happening in that um, conjunct or that aspect. Okay, I hope this has helped you. Yes, now I'm moving on to the next question. Sir, can two people have the same birth chart? Define how will life be for the both same or different? This is a tricky question. Okay, so there are so many studies going on uh, twins. Okay, but more than that, the most important thing, you would see that there are people born on the same time. So what is the difference? What is the difference between a person who is born in certain house and the other house at the same time? And yes, there could be people born on the same time. We can't just argue, oh, you won't have that same timing. No, you can have it. What changes is your Rahu and Ketu, because that is the change, that is the most dynamic change, dynamic planets in your chart, which is your DNA, which shows, the Rahu shows your paternal side karma, and Ketu shows the maternal side karma. Good or bad, how it is going to pay you off, different story. But for example, you may be born in a royal family, so your Rahu Ketu, for example, let's say you are born in a royal family, and your Rahu would be your grandfather who was a king. And at the same time, there was a person who was in the same town. His Rahu would be his grandfather, would be anyone, may not be the king. And that is the change. That's where the chart goes on to the other direction. Okay, so the Rahu and Ketu changes the exact chart. Now, moving on to the next question. Hi, Pramanik. I recently saw your video on Jupiter in Adra. It was very informative. What are your thoughts on Jupiter at 14 degrees Gemini, conjunct Sun at 8 degrees in Gemini, houses, both first house in D9? Okay, I don't follow the Nakshatra in D9. Okay, so apologize for not being able to answer your question. Sir, I have been watching you for some time. I have 5 months of Kate. I did not get that. Do you mean 5 months of Ketu? Okay, let me see here. 5 months of Ketu Mahadasha. It has kicked my butt, but woke me up on many levels. Mars and Ketu in the fifth house for Cancer, Lagna, Pushya, Moon, Jupiter. Exactly. Yes. Ketu Dasha is a Dasha. Rahu Dasha And Ketu Dasha changes you uh, from within. It changes you completely, the way you look at life. And right after Ketu comes Venus. So before you get a luxury, God shows you that this is not real and nothing is going to last, and you feel like, there's nothing worth living for, and you feel sad, then you feel alone. That's what Ketu Mahadasha makes you feel. But that is the preparation for from the God to give you what he has to give you in Venus Mahadasha. And before that, he's just making you feel that it's not real. Okay, so Ketu Mahadasha is very important. Rahu Mahadasha is very important. So if you are anybody who is going through Rahu or Ketu Mahadasha, you make most of that. Okay. SRM. Sir, Rahu in the seventh house in Scorpio in D1, Mercury Ketu in seventh house in Cancer in D9, in Gemini in D1 and sixth house in D9. Anything on marriage and spouse? The marriage is more about the timing, and timing is more about dashas rather than the D9. Yes, D9 is important, but just to look at which planet to look for based on the lordship and the karakatva. Okay, but the timing, you have to combine transit with the dasha to get the timing of any event. I'm a Taurus ascendant, Rahu in the first house, Saturn in the second house, Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury in the sixth house, Libra sign. Should I job or business or alone business? I don't know, because you have to see the sixth house, you have to see the 10th house, okay, and you have to also see the Ashtakarga of the sixth house to see the strength. And sometimes you are able to do the both. You also should be able to do it. But more than that, you have to see the Saturn and also the planets, the sequence of the planets from the Rahu to Ketu to understand more about it. Okay, I just gave you the hint. Freaking awesome. Hello, sir. Hello, freaking awesome. Welcome to the live stream. I'm so happy to see you. So true. I have Saturn retrograde as Amatya Karaka in 11th house in Mrigashira. Opposite Mars, Ketu, lots of pain and shame, growth through the discipline. Yes, I'm so happy it resonated with you. Hello, sir. Six? What happens when sixth house had many planets in Navamsha? Right. You go and watch my D1 versus D9 video, because you have to see how these planets are have come into the sixth house Navamsha. Because sixth house of Navamsha is nothing but a sign, and there are all the planets placed in different houses in different degrees are coming into the same pada. That's all it means. High elevation. Is this pre recorded? Maybe. It seems like a pre recorded. No, it's not. Can Manglik marry to non Manglik? Is there a remedy to remove Mangalik Dosha? 60% of the people are Manglik. Okay, don't be afraid of Mangal Dosha. Okay, I have already made a separate video on that. What it means is, it you should know what Mangal Dosha is. Mangal Dosha is when you have Mars aspecting your seventh or eighth house of marriage and sex. Okay, and you should have a compatible partner, passionate enough. That's all it is. Because if 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 Mars is in the 12th house, fourth house, first house, seventh house, or eighth house, it's like five houses out of the 12 houses you become Manglik. So almost like what, 40%, 60% of the people are Mangalik. So don't worry about it, and don't do any remedies. Just try and find a partner who is compatible. Okay, and how do you found how would you find that? That's your job. You have to go out, meet people, see how you can connect with them, how you feel about the nature, the way they talk, and all your criteria you have in your mind about your partner, and then only go for it. Don't worry about Manglik Dosha. And if anyone is putting fear in you, okay, you will die or something would happen, just ignore. If you love someone, just ignore all the people and follow your heart. Doesn't mean your life would be good, doesn't mean you won't have problem, but at least you will have a peace of mind. I hope this helped. Does D1 shows personality and D1 shows life parents? No, it's not that easy and that obvious. Okay, I have Sun Mercury. Okay, we have discussed this. Aryan, I have Venus and Moon in Taurus in third, Rahu in second, Jupiter in the sixth, aspecting current in Rahu Mahadasha Pisces ascendant. Excellent. It's good. If Rahu and Ketu are two halves of one being, why do their nature contrast so starkly? Does Ketu become spiritual just because it lacks that head? Rahu and Ketu are the planets, are the same planets, but it is cut by the Vishnu. But at the same time, they are Amar. So they are going to haunt, they are going to come, they are going to challenge, they are going to change you. Okay, but their job is different. Just because they don't have the head is a signification of the things we do mindlessly and subconsciously. And Rahu is our obsession. That's why it is our head. If you look at our head, all the things which we do are with your mouth, with your head. Okay, you drink, you smoke, you eat, you smell, all these things. Okay, so Rahu and Ketu are complementary to each other. They change your life in their own ways, and it is always the balance of those houses is our life, and the Lord of those houses bring in the change and distribute our karma through the lords. Okay, I have made so many videos on Rahu and Ketu. You should go and watch that. Okay, Saturn in the Saturn is in the fourth house now. Bhinna Ashtakvarga score of Saturn is 5. Saturn is Marak of Dhanu Lagna. Then how is the result in Saturn Mahadasha last phase of Jupiter? I'm not able to visualize it. I'm sorry. How to study the effects of Pitru Dosha in Akshavedamsha chart? I don't know. Freaking awesome. You're very correct, sir. Let's say someone is a Pisces ascendant, Pisces with rising Mars in the ascendant in Revati. Actually, it's a good placement. In fact, it will make you get into the relationship. Yes. It doesn't make the native short tempered either. Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Prospect reject matrimonial profile due to Mangalik Dosha. Just show them this video. I already have one more video. Just show this to all the parents and all the friends who are afraid of it. Okay, and it's better to stay away from astrology and live happily rather than getting obsessed and getting into the fear. If astrology or any astrologer is putting fear in you, just stay away from astrology and live happily. Okay, but don't get into this. Aishwarya, can astrology work really? Why does astrologer find difficulty predicting Rahu Mahadasha effects? Yes, because Rahu is confusion and it's not difficult to predict it, but it is multidimensional and personal for each person. Okay, here are the limitations. What are the limitations of predicting things? The astrologer may not be good. Okay, astrologer has a limited time to study your chart. Okay, this is one. Astrologer may have a limited knowledge to understand your chart. No matter how much time you give him, he may not be able to understand certain things. So the time factor, the knowledge factor, and there would be certain things we are going to miss as an astrologer. So these are the challenges with uh, astrology. Okay, so that's why we always say astrologer can be wrong, but astrology always works. You have to find the right person which resonates with you, whom you have a trust, and follow it. If anybody is putting in fear, don't go to that person. Don't go to that astrologer. Okay. And if anybody has put in fear in anyone who is watching that, I say sorry on behalf of all the hardworking, genuine astrologers. Okay. That you should not go to these astrologers. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. If an astrologer predicts our life, will our destiny change after we came to know our future? Now, these are all the tricky questions. You should be clear about it in your mind before you go. So I have made a video on 10 things you should know before you approach a Vedic astrologer. You should go and watch that. What is the right time to visit an astrologer? What happens is people visit astrologer when they are into their worst timings. So that vidya doesn't work, because now is the time for you to go through certain things. Let's say I don't know anything about astrology. Somebody says it's Sadesati, and then I find my chart from somewhere and then go to a local astrologer or an genuine online astrologer, and then I feel like I don't know, but this time is not the right time to get the right guidance. So when your life is going great, then go to astrologer and ask him how I can do it, how I can work on it, how I can make it better. That's the right way to do it. Okay. What does my life mean? I did not get your question. Okay, so we have covered all the questions. If you still have any question, or if I have missed your question, you can always put your question into the comment section. I read all the comments and I try to reply to as many comments as I can. Okay, so yes, sending you tons of positive energy, sending you high vibrations. See you in the next video. Keep watching Pramanik Astrologer, and keep watching Pramanik Astrology. See you in the next video. Namaste.